Chuck McDonald with Informed Entrepreneur, and I'm here today with Dale Ewing of InstallNET.com. InstallNET has been on the Inc. 5000 list, which means it's one of the fastest growing companies in America. So good to be with you today, Dale.
Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it.
So with you being in the office furniture business and to have grown so quickly, you must be doing things differently than the rest of the industry. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, yes. Actually, so InstallNET is actually a nationwide network of office furniture installers. So we actually do not sell office furniture. We typically are subcontracted by the dealers or the manufacturers or the end users to do the work and the installation. And what we do differently is we cover the entire country, actually all North America. So we have about 250 service providers in our network, and we provide the premium project management to oversee multi-location jobs.
I see. Does it help being close to Washington, D.C. with the many offices, many government facilities, or is D.C. not a super important area for you?
Well, it's not a super important area because we do work nationwide. We do a lot of work in this area, a lot of work in New York and Philly. You know, this whole corridor is very hot in terms of the volume of work that we do. But as far as InstallNET, since we manage projects nationally, we really can be located anywhere.
I see. I noticed a phrase called EcoServe, and I was kind of interested. Is that, tell me about that, if that's an important aspect of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. EcoServe is a wonderful program that we started a few years ago, and it's really just taken off like crazy. Eco stands for the environment, and Serve stands for the community. And basically what we do with EcoServe is we help customers decommission their excess assets, particularly office furniture, and we either resell, repurpose, which means gifting and donating to charities, or recycle. So we track all those metrics and provide that back to the customer, as well as really create community and charity stories that that customer was able to affect with their surplus product.
Excellent, excellent. So I believe the information said you started the company 20 years ago, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
We just celebrated our 20th anniversary in October.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
congratulations. So tell me about the rise of the company. Has it been a kind of a slow, steady thing, or all of a sudden perhaps a way that you leapt up another level or signed a big contract, or there was another different way of doing business that made you catapult forward?
It's been a very steady growth, with the exception of 2009 and 2010 when the economy fell off the face of the earth. We fell with it, but we grow 15 to 25% every year, with that one exception. And that year we dropped 33%, but since then we've gotten back on pace. So the last 2 years we've grown 25% a year.
Okay. As a person that's not very acquainted with the industry, that sounds remarkable. What are you doing that's special or different? It sounds that's very good results.
We've really evolved with the economy and with the way things are done now. We have a program which is online. All of our work is done online. But originally, back in the 90s, our primary value to customers was just that we had this service network, right? Back before the internet, back before, if somebody wanted to do a job out of town, they either needed to know somebody or find some yellow pages. And our primary value back then was basically geography, that we could handle this work nationwide, and we were one of the only resources to do that. But as time and technology has advanced, that's not our biggest value proposition anymore. We've really kind of grown with the times, and essentially we've grown up to bigger projects, bigger customers. We typically right now work mainly with major contract furniture dealers as well as Fortune 1000 companies.
I see.
So we've changed our program to be a much more robust project management program versus just a project coordination and resource.
I see. So let's take, for example, let's say an insurance company, a large insurance company decides, well, we want to locate a branch here in this area. We're in Crofton, Maryland.
Yes.
And they come to you and say, oh, we're going to we'll need 25 people, and we're not exactly sure how to do it, but we hear you guys do it well. How would you respond to that type of request?
Absolutely. So actually that would come into us probably a couple different ways. Typically for new product installations, that's not going to come directly from the customer, the end user. Mm-hmm. It's going to come through the furniture dealer. who's
I see.
typically serving that customer either in their local area, or they might have a national account. And that's really what we specialize in, is the national work. So when it's just a one-off out of this area, there's not as much value to InstallNET. But when you have, let's say, a dealer that works with a national insurance company and they have hundreds of offices around the country, then InstallNET's value is really important, because we provide that consistency of service, the accountability, and the single point of contact of our project manager, and we have those relationships in place. So typically that would come directly from the dealer. We develop long-term relationships with the dealers, and we would be handling multiples of those projects.
Oh, I see. Okay, talk a little bit about finances. How are you doing as far as revenue and numbers of staff and that kind of thing?
Finances are great. It's really, the last few years, we've really, again, focused on our business model and fine-tuning it. We actually did an entire, reorg.
Okay.
We did an entire reorg over the last 2 years, and we changed our entire structure from standalone project managers to teams. And that enabled us to handle bigger accounts better and provide better service. So we've been able to grow. We've grown 25% in the last year. We're now about 26 million. And our profits have gone up. So all is good.
Fantastic. And how many team members, how many staff do you have?
We have about 45 right
45.
now.
Okay. Okay. Great. Now, as a company grows to that size, from a few to a sizable amount, you probably have to develop a lot in terms of leadership. And tell me what you've learned in leadership as the business has grown.
Wow, leadership is a little bit of persistence and a lot of care. You know, I mean, for me, there's not a lot of bossing around. It's really more about how do we all work together to create a common goal, to achieve a common goal. So it's really about the intent. For me, that's what I look at it and go, I always want to do the right thing. I always want to have the right intent in mind, and I want to deal with people individually and make sure that we respect and appreciate individuals.
Okay. As I walked in today, on the board it said, if InstallNET was a person, what would they be like? And all these characteristics were listed. Man, I want to meet a person like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we have a great culture here. It's a fun place to work. Crofton is a nice, outlying suburb of Washington, D.C., Annapolis, and Baltimore, so we've got a great intersection of people. But the town itself, we have a lot of local Crofton employees, and we all get along. But we work really, really hard. So one of the things you saw on that board probably was hard worker, because the type of thing that we do, I mean, it's the margins are not that great, and the productivity is amazing, what our people get done. So it's hard work, but appreciate and respect each other and have a little bit of fun. Okay,
great. Now, is there a leader that you sort of like to listen to, or pattern your life after, or pattern yourself after as a leader, that maybe look at his quotes or try to learn from him and then apply some of that? Anyone like that, or a book that you've read that is a good guide for you?
I read so many books, and you can see some of them here. I read them all, so I love them, and I don't stick with one particular leader. Actually, I change as we go along. Simon Sitek is one. Seth Godin. So those type of guys are great. But I've read all the latest type stuff, and I just enjoy keeping up with the concepts. I don't like a lot of little kind of sayings. I really want to understand the concept and the big picture of leadership and where the business environment is going and that type of thing.
Good. Try to stay ahead of the curve a little bit.
Yeah. Always try to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay. So as far as when the company is successful as it is there particular things that you guys like to do to give back to the community? What's one or two things perhaps that you like to do with the community?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a really community-oriented company, and we do a couple things. One is we have an organization called Connected Warrior Foundation. They're based in Annapolis.
Okay.
They're a nonprofit, and their mission is to help wounded veterans stay connected. They are partnered with, let's say, Google and Amazon Fire and that type of thing, and they hand out tablets and and communication devices to wounded veterans in the hospitals, so that they can stay connected with their family, they can stay connected with their peers, and it's just a really neat thing. And they do a lot of local stuff, so we love to participate in that. We do a lot of one-off type stuff, adopt a family, somebody brings something in. I mean, a lot of people will bring personal causes in and go, hey, what do we do? And we also have locally here, a number of our employees actually had severely sick kids with cancer.
Oh, I
and
see.
so we are very involved community-based wise to support those type of concerns.
Outstanding. Talk a little bit about the training, because you talk about being internet-based, and that's changing all the time. What do you do for training for your staff to kind of keep them on the cutting edge?
That's a great question, because we are really focused on that right now, and it's very, very difficult nowadays to keep everybody moving forward and to accomplish everything. So traditional training programs are falling a little short because, first of all, you don't have time to train everybody on everything. Everybody has to pick up all these new skills, particularly technology and how to use it, but also even soft skills in the business. So, certainly we do hands-on training in-house here on how to use the web, the network, and all that stuff for ourselves. But we've just actually adopted a program, this is a plug for LinkedIn Learning. We've really looked at it, and basically it's a subscription service that gives you unlimited access to about 6,000 courses that are available online.
Wow.
And the courses are anywhere from 30 minutes to 8 hours. However, they're broken up into 5-minute sections. So the idea is you kind of learn as you go, as you have time. You don't have time. I was looking at, for myself, I wanted to learn WordPress, right? And I'm a pretty capable guy. I think I can do that. But I would have had to find a seminar or maybe a 2-day training class. First of all, I had to find that. It means I had to stop and figure out where I was going to go. Secondly, I had to leave the office for 2 days. And now I can just do it right online in bits and pieces as I need it. As I come across something I want to know more about, I just log on and I have that hands-on training. So we're really trying to enable our employees to help themselves grow their careers, to build skills, above and beyond just the everyday exact skills that you need to do your job today. It's really where are we going tomorrow.
So it sounds like you've got your vision on expanding the company, continuing to grow, some long-range goals?
Yes, absolutely. So we continue to grow. We know that we can grow 10 to 15% pretty easily based on the way we're set up right now and the customer base that we have and the opportunities that are coming through the door. Our biggest challenge is, because we're a service-based business, is controlling the quality and getting the right people in here. So, it's not really about selling and how much can you sell, because we could probably sell a lot more than we can do. But it is about kind of balancing those two. So that's why employee training is so important, because we want to accelerate the growth of our employees and the opportunities of our employees so that we can grow as a company, because if we can't do that, our company can't grow.
Right, exactly. So Dale, is there anything that I haven't asked that you feel like is a good point that you wanted to emphasize or talk about that wasn't covered in our conversation this far?
No, but the conversation always keeps coming back to employees, and we just had an employee meeting, State of InstallNET, and when you look back and you take a look at all the different things that we're doing, it really all starts with the employee, and the relationship, and making sure that that's a strong relationship, and that we do everything we can to help people succeed. And that carries over then to our service provider partners as well as our customers. So I think that's the real foundation of InstallNET.
Excellent. Thank you very much.